Okay, for tomorrow's exam, remember it's over chapter 4 that deals with that of cells, and we tried to give examples of different ways that those are important. We saw an example a couple examples yesterday we talked about in class, and for the assignment that was given out on Tuesday, you'll be receiving that from Mr. Deitch. And a lot of you had the right idea, but there was a question that some of you certainly did well on. Others maybe just gave part of what we were looking for, but it was asking for, well, what are these three, what do a lot of cells that have in either mammals or humans, what do they all have in common? Okay, and the three things that we want to know, okay, when it comes to this is, what are some characteristics all cells have in common? Okay, and rather than just listing what those characteristics are, we want to know a little bit about the information that those characteristics would entail or include. And probably first and foremost is all cells have a nucleus. That's really no surprise. All cells have a nucleus. Okay? And not only is that important for just saying what these have in common, but what does the nucleus actually do? Okay? So in regards to that importance is the command center for the cell. In other words, one of the things we maybe talked about was it directs all the cellular activities, because it's the DNA that's found inside of the cell that's so important when it comes to that of a nucleus. Okay? Then next, okay, would be all cells have a cell or plasma membrane. Okay? And the reason that's important is we called the cell membrane the gatekeeper, because what that does is that allows certain materials into the cell that belong there, but unfortunately some materials can also enter the cell that don't belong there. So that's going to be the importance of this cell or plasma membrane, is that it will direct what's supposed to enter and exit the cell. Okay? So how we want to state that in somewhere in these types of words or terms is will allow certain, I misspelled that. Maybe say allows would be a better way of looking at that. Allows materials into and out of the cell. And one aspect we want to include on that is membrane specific. Okay. So in other words, that'll become more important next chapter when we talk about movement of materials into and out of the cell. Of course, we're referring to diffusion, osmosis, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. So we've got two of the three main characteristics. Again, our nucleus, what does it do? It directs the cellular activities. So we'll include that. Directs cellular activities. Okay, I just included that just now, as you can tell. So we've got our nucleus, we've got our cell membrane, and then finally our cytoplasm. Okay, so why is the cytoplasm going to be important? Well, it houses which houses all organelles. Examples. Oops. Would include, we already know the nucleus is there because we've said that. We want to say ribosomes, the Golgi apparatus. I'm just going to abbreviate that. And then finally the ER. I mean, there are more materials that are found but inside the cells, but for the most part, this is the information that we're looking for. Nucleus, a cell membrane, and the cytoplasm. And the ER we're referring to as the endoplasmic reticulum. And should there be a large concentration of ribosomes on or within the endoplasmic reticulum, we call it the rough ER. If it lacks the ribosomes, we refer to it then as the smooth ER. Okay? And then finally, one more important one we want to include, and the mitochondria. And what might be a function of the Golgi apparatus? Well, what that will do is collect and modify different proteins that that cell may make. So now we got our three characteristics: nucleus, cell membrane, and cytoplasm, and we want to explain what it is, the importance of those three characteristics. So that's what we want you to be able to describe for tomorrow's evaluation or exam. Okay? And if you have your vocab terms, vocab quizzes that I'll have Mr. Deitch hand back to you as well, that will certainly benefit you then as well. Okay, and probably some general questions that you may have worked on with those packets. We already know there's three main structures. When we talk about the cell theory, there's only three parts to that. I think that was one of your vocab terms there. Cells come from pre-existing cells. It's the basic unit structure and function. And there's one more. It's a basic unit. I already said that. Not coming to my mind right now. But again, that's on your vocab sheet as well. We know that lipids are composed of fats, and fats are, cholesterol would be one of them, and that is a base unit for hormones is cholesterol, and proteins are made from amino acids. There's probably some of this information that we've gone over during class that you just may want to make a mental note of. Okay. And when we're talking about living things, probably the most common is water, since that's we are mainly composed of in our bodies as well. And again, just look through your lecture materials, this information that we just gone over, and that of your vocab terms, and you should be just fine. Okay, so we will now move on to whether you choose to do this or not, and that would be these extra set of questions. I wanted to make sure that I got these done in time so you could actually take part and watch that, because maybe a question or two could pertain to this video that we watched about different categories of venom then. Okay, so bonus one. Okay. And one question that we could ask for that. Nike Athletics. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, this individual will be probably associated with a commercial tonight for the opening of the 2018-19 NFL season. Okay, that would be bonus number 1. And then, let's see here, bonus number 2. Since you volleyball ladies take the court to this song, what is significant about the drummer for thinking I probably did not spell that correctly, but should you look this up, I think it would probably make pretty good sense. Okay, so those would be your 2 bonus questions. I didn't think that looked right. Okay, now please remember, we rely on your integrity for those extra points. And again, this is just opportunities for you to gain some of these extra points and help us with a good start to this school year. There's your 2 bonus questions. It's your choice whether you want to do them or not, and we will continue now with this video. Notice with a lot of them, probably the most significant that we talked about yesterday was that of the black mamba, because what that does is it paralyzes its prey, and how it does that is once some of that venom reaches. Once it reaches the nervous system, it blocks the receptor sites and does not allow that signal to then continue to provide nerve cell conduction. Okay, so continue with a little bit of this. I don't know how much we'll finish. And again, notice we talked about this yesterday when we ended the class, is that here you have this individual, he's laying in the hospital and people are talking about him while he's unconscious. Oh, we don't think he's going to survive. And for those of you who take zoology, this is in a family of snakes called elapids because the fangs are short. And one of the things to notice, a lot of these deadly creatures, they're all found in Australia. Maybe we're lucky we live here in North America. Famous last words. Yeah, I'll be fine. I think we're all guilty of that.